It's the time to get down.
All right. Yes, work week around the studio, special broadcast week, you guys. The idea was to let people peek into what goes on behind the scenes. This is not a scripted show. It's sort of like one of those camera watching behind the scene things. So the idea we would meet, it's an experiment too. It's an experiment because we've never done it before. It's an experiment because we don't know how it's going to work. I got to be conscious of the fact that people are watching.
Yeah.
And so there's all that kind of stuff. So it's different in that sense. On the other hand, we still doing what we kind of normally do. So, and I just realized I can't. Did I bring my notes out here? Can't find them.
No, you just got caught off guard.
Yeah.
You just got caught off guard. And anyway, I was already explaining to everybody, a lot of this was already a testing of what we do in the morning. So there was no formula. There's no particular protocol. It's just that when we actually get together, which is a lot of the time, when we're in the studio, we say we would turn it on. And sometimes you run into things. So it's the reality of it is that things happen when you're trying to meet. So you ran into a special situation that at this moment, you have every right not to sit back and continue on doing this because somebody near and dear to you is definitely going through an important crisis in their life right now. So, it's one of those things that you say, well, should you continue the show?
Well, it's kind of inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a friend who's sick with cancer themselves, but who's actually doing pretty good with that. But their father passed, and who I've known for years and years, and so who was also suffering from illness.
Yeah.
So in a sense, when those kind of things happen, you're at the same time overwhelmed with your grief, but there's also that part of you that's relieved by knowing that there's an end to their suffering.
Right.
So I got that news right. We're about to start.
Yeah.
And so the whole reality of these things is that I don't know. The whole point of these of these kinds of exercises with Vic and I was that it became evident that people were interested in the story, and it also became evident that we had to tell our own story, that no one's going to tell the story for us. And so the story being one of the journey of why we do these things, and so that becomes an issue of who the people are.
Yeah.
And so what are their idiosyncrasies? So part of the whole thing is this is a different degree of intimacy that perhaps none of us are used to. I have to pretend or believe that I'm talking to those people that I have met.
Right.
And also those kindred spirits that too struggle with these kinds of things. There's nothing unique really about these kinds of things, as far as I can see,
right.
Especially at our age, Vic.
Yeah.
We have so many friends who are dealing with these things, and you yourself having dealt with them. So that none of us are immune.
Right.
It's part of the journey. If you live long enough, you have to bury friends.
Yep.
And family. That's part of the issue of of living long enough. If you live long enough, that's what happens.
Yeah.
So those are the things that we deal with as people.
Yeah.
It's our off week. Now, when we say our off week, I wanted you guys, the people, to understand kind of like what our off week is. It's really, we use the time to work on other things. In fact, one of the ongoing issues is that in order to make the changes we need to make, the question is, how do we continue to do the same morning coffee show? That's an ongoing issue. Even though Vic and I think we have it worked out by doing a shorter morning coffee show. And then conceivably, we could do an hour show.
Right.
We just can't seem to get it down to an hour.
Yeah.
So we kind of decided on 90 minutes, you guys. But really, we think that that's certainly long. That's one of the things that Victor and I were talking about. But because there's things to accomplish when you and part of the issue is no one has actually more time. I'm sure this is no different than you guys, right? Because we have certain time we put into. We don't want to put in more time. We actually want a little more free time. Because we live and breathe this.
Right.
And Vic and I work at this 24, 7 days a week. We're working around the clock, whatever. We're up and living and breathing this. So the issue that's coming up, and really the issues that I'm attempting to prioritize, is for us to get ready for South by Southwest Conference. Now, people say, why? Vic and I know it's about the presentation of who we are. First of all, you have South by Southwest Conference where certain groups are kind of underrepresented. And also we want to go and then represent and tell the story about what we're doing with internet television. And so it's how you tell a story. And so we have to make time to allow for that. But on the other hand, we want to keep programming going. So the first thing we realized, we're trying to get the shows 90 minutes or less. We really are working hard on that. And that's keeping hot picks, new to sports, how we deal with the news, just less of it. You know,
Right.
like some of that stuff we agreed could be 15 to 30-minute segments. It certainly could be 15 minutes or less. So these are the things that we are trying to deal with, is trying to deal with that. Now, Vic, I'm going to call Jezzy, too, and just to let her know
Right.
what we're doing today. And also we have to always deal with our schedule, looking at the schedule, because I got to deal with some scheduling.
Yeah, I know.
On the other hand, we could try to get through it. Well, I don't know. That's the stuff we have to consider. Ongoing stuff.
Yeah. On ongoing tip for me, the biggest and the most popular month in Southern California is a few days away. And when I say that to mean that it's this combined effort dwarfs anything else that happens this time of the year. It's Black History Month, Oscars, Grammys, along with other projects that just are wrapped around it.
Right.
For us, it's big because a lot of my effort is that you're in the city that represents a number of vehicles of social media opportunity.
Right.
And if you can't implant yourself here at a location where people are actually trying to get here to make their mark, then it will represent probably that other months may not be as popular. So part of what Mario is saying
I didn't
is,
even think about that. I'm making notes now. Vic got me. Vic, maybe I had to get out my shit. Let me write down something.
all right,
You know, because that's true. Because as we wind into Southwest, we got February. So that's the thing I was thinking, and part of what I wanted to discuss today, right? To me, is the priorities.
Yeah,
that's actually what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
the priorities.
yeah. The hard
Okay.
part about this is that it's like going to the All-Star game. Everybody wants to go to the All-Star game, but everybody wants to get into the VIP projects of the All-Star game. And there are some people who come into town, and we're here when the All-Star game is in L.A., and I can't even sometimes get into the junkets. They can. And everybody knows you are supposed to be a player in the game. And if you're not looked at that in what you're doing, then you got to go to your B plan, your C plan, and everything. So right now, February to me represents a pinnacle of penetration.
You're right.
And a lot of people don't really look at it that way. And I'm not trying to say it's not a black thing month. It just happens to be a convergence of a number of things. You got the best award ceremony on the planet, the Oscars. You got the Grammys, which is the biggest as it recognized as far as the music aficionados. So that's film and music. And so you got Black History Month, where, of course, we are also, and you got the Pan-African Film Festival that's going on as well. Then by the time you get to March, you got the South by Southwest. Well, here's the month.
And we got to prepare.
Well,
Right, we got to hit all this stuff, and we have to prepare, because the part of the thing with the preparation is, one, think what we want our fans to do. And I got sort of that. Like, I just mainly want them to be in the chat room while we broadcast live. But you and I, we got to think what we want to do, and then we also have to do our own outreach to the groups that were there. Now, believe it or not, you guys, the whole idea of the presence of African Americans at these kind of conferences was actually dealt with kind of in the media. It actually, because of the lack of different organizations have gotten active. So we have some outreach people, some outreach organizations that we have to reach out to them, find out what they're doing, and find out how we can participate, and also attempt to throw our own event there, right? When I say throw our own event, people sponsor different things, like they sponsor barbecue around the pool, or they sponsor this or that. And what you do is you can provide refreshments. Theoretically, I was just going to look at the idea of doing something with a budget from El Pollo Loco or something, or being able to have a fast food thing, Subway, I don't know, whatever you could afford, different things.
Right.
cater it and then provide some kind of a networking event. But part of this whole thing is that we have to decide first how we want to prioritize things.
Right.
So we have to take into account that we know we want to take into account February, and we know we want to build into going to South by Southwest, because the whole thing with South by Southwest, it does require some planning. If we're going to do, like, say we're going to do special broadcasts from special events at South by Southwest, and say they're encouraging that, okay, then I would want to let you guys know, right? So you could be in the chat room or be wherever you could interact with that in the ways that fit you. So it's all about what we want to cover. And remember, we have to think that through. And part of that is networking with the other organizations. Okay. So at least I can make, so remember, this is Vic and I are meeting, so there's no script. This is what stuff we had talked. So Vic, there's a few things I wanted to make aware to you. Okay? For one, the live stream has a new setup. Okay. Let me show you this, because I was out here testing stuff. All right, because we have there's new stuff around here. If you notice, Vic has got some new headphones on. I also have some new headphones. Right here, not using them today because it's the whole broadcast check thing. So.
Yeah, PMC and we were already talking about it. He has the Beats by Dre headphones as well.
Oh yeah.
And so we're talking about the difference between casual and having what you would call the casual fan getting all the extra added bass versus using them for mixing headphones, which is totally different. So
right, PMC, like PMC, that's right. It's a swagger thing, right?
Yeah.
Not a mixing thing, really, right?
No.
Okay, let's be clear.
No,
Okay,
no, not
because
at all.
I ain't about to start mixing with some headphones.
No, not like that.
Okay. I'm just saying. I mean, there's times you do that because you have to when you're coming up, but that is not the ultimate way to mix.
Right.
Okay, so we could talk about that at another time. Even though all of us have mixed with headphones.
Right.
And cheapy speakers, everything, right?
Yeah.
All right.
That's true.
Let me tell you guys, okay, so we're getting ready. So, Vic, I wanted you to know that certain things are a plus.
Right.
At least having been on the technical side over the weekend. This is Livestream's new broadcaster. Okay, it's a little red box that allows you to tap into. Now, why are we testing this out? We're trying to get ready for South by Southwest with the idea that we would cover some of the events at South by Southwest and report.
Right.
Plus, also, there's this whole thing about applying for the press credentials and also making them aware of us, because they may want to include us on things.
Right.
Except we have to do that whole thing to reach out to them. So this is ideally some of the stuff that we were hoping to do with Jezreel. And we're still trying to get, to get her to, get that all rolling.
Right.
But anyway, just so you understand, so this testing of this setup is a very lightweight. This is not necessarily how we would want to use it, but the whole testing of this little box can connect with an Ethernet cable, or it can go wireless. It's a $500 box, okay?
Now the box you're talking about is on top.
A little red thing here.
Right.
Okay, and you plug in your cameras and stuff to that, and this allows you to stream.
Yep.
So we're going to test it around here using our own wireless network. It can use 3G or 4G if you plug that those 3G, 4G adapters you buy.
Right.
If you plug them up to this, it'll use that
Right.
because it has a USB in for that.
Gotcha.
But it also has its own wireless,
Yep.
okay? And it also has an Ethernet connection, so you can plug in an Ethernet connection to it. But we're going to plan now. Why? We bought one because we're testing it out to use it, because the whole thing is that PMC, not your fault about that whole live stream thing. Now that I look at it more carefully, I got to apologize. It was more. Live stream has a terrible organization set up on that aspect. I just have to admit. It's very confusing, extremely confusing. So just so you know, PMC, this box works with the new Livestream account. So we have that new Livestream account, the $45 a month one. Okay, so we invested in the box, $500 investment. Okay, now the idea why? Because I already can tell you the pros and cons to a certain extent. Remember, for $500 you could buy a laptop, right?
Right.
And for that $500, that laptop, you can plug your camera up to that laptop
Right.
and stream live, right?
Right.
So it's an issue. Why did I spend $500? For the portability and size only.
Right.
Because the whole thing, I've been one of the proponents of using a laptop wherever you are, just using a USB capture device, and you can capture any camera
Right.
anywhere you are and have the full functionality of a laptop
Right.
for under $500, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just saying, a laptop, you can get a laptop for $4 or less.
Right.
Okay,
That's
now,
true.
so this has to do with Vic being by himself when other times after this that he can stream live from wherever he is and just have to bring this attachment.
Right.
Because the whole issue with him is it wasn't practical for him to use a laptop.
True.
Now, here's the thing about these kinds of things, which is interesting. To even control this, Vic, you still got to control what's happening down there. So they make an app. It's so funny because they got to give you some kind of computer.
That's right.
But what about when this is streaming in the live stream? Who's telling live stream to record, to
That's right.
switch,
I know.
all that? Well, that's why you have an app.
Right.
So we're going to be testing this out. So what you see here, this is a JVC HD camera, one of those little mini Everios. It's about a $500 high def camera. It's connected to the box via HDMI.
Right.
Okay, because the box requires. And also we have the wireless mic setup of our preference. The Sennheiser wireless mic is by far the best broadcast recording mic we have ever used at any kind of level. It is
True.
wonderful. And they are not cheap, unfortunately.
No.
The setup still runs you about almost $500
Yeah.
for, that's the only part.
Yep.
But this one, for recording purposes, we use this. Now, this allows us to communicate with this unit here, and then the audio from this runs into the box. So now, Vic, I just want you to know, it's been tested.
Right.
It's ready for you and I to test it at some point in time
Okay.
as a show. And I figured we would play around with it and try to broadcast them all around the house or something. Okay, but we have that to test now, and it's the same system, and then we want to try it out on the other systems that you use so that you can take it with you when you go live. So typically, this is what may happen. A lot of times when Vic goes out to cover events, he's going to have the option of tapping right in and sending that stream to us live from the place,
Right.
while simultaneously recording it on the camera.
Right.
And so I can be back here and manipulate that stream
True.
and take it to you guys. So it's the state of the art.
Yep.
Now remember, just so everybody knows, all of our associates, once you are part of the production team at Livestream, have that potential to tap into.
And what way are you referring to?
In other words, there's a way Mac could get on the camera, PMC could be on the camera,
Right.
and they could actually come live, and we could cut
away to 'em.
cut away to them in our broadcast. Remember that, okay? Not that you have to do it, but just remember for the futures, because if we ever wanted to have like someone to give a special broadcast, there's a way to cut to them. And that's why most of the experiment has to do with you all getting used to using Livestream, our people.
Mac has a question I'll let you go and answer. He says, in reference to the video, the camera hookup we have that you just presented, he says, so you can hook the JVC into WeVideo and have a director monitoring as you go live.
Not WeVideo per se, because WeVideo doesn't have a live stream into it, okay? But whoever has a live stream, by that I mean, we could do this, and that's part of we could upload the files into WeVideo.
Yeah, but you're talking about it's not used as an app for broadcasting.
Remember the difference we're making is streaming,
Yeah.
live streaming,
Right.
real-time streaming,
Yeah.
as opposed to uploading into the different. Yeah, we can upload into the different places.
Yeah.
We can definitely upload. And part of the thing that we're going to be working out for South by Southwest is besides even the live stuff, what about the pieces we record? Where are they going to be posted? And we're going to do that. Now, the other thing, you guys, is that everything allows us to post to simultaneous places while we're on the floor almost.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
The live stream app will do that too, Vic. So in other words, we should be able to post these things to YouTube. And remember, YouTube, by the way, but you don't realize that YouTube has new functionality. For example, YouTube now allows for us to live stream into YouTube. Okay? I haven't tested it.
Right.
But we have to test it and all that. But but everybody's moving there. Everybody's moving there. So remember, that's not as big a surprise. The biggest surprise is how small it is. But remember, anyone with a laptop, because remember, one of the things I had designed, and Vic will tell you, was a way to attach the laptop to the camera tripod.
Right.
It was just a way of putting your laptop next to the camera tripod, connected to the tripod. We also purchased this shelf, but the stuff I was designing was better. So that you can have once you put a laptop next to a camera, you can go anywhere, right? And use your camera, use the laptop Wi-Fi with a regular capture device, which is going to be dollars, like anywhere from you can get USB capture devices for a laptop for $20.
Right.
We have 2 or 3 of them that cost around that.
Right.
Okay, so then you could capture. So the thing I'm talking about, Vic, in terms of prioritizing for the month of February, we have a few technical things that we have to test to a fairly extreme degree.
Right.
That's the only reason why. And the question becomes how much to prioritize them. Now, for one, that's one thing. So we have to test out this. Okay? That's one thing. Okay? The other thing is that we are also ready to once again try to use Uvu live, to have meetings where we can have a live chat room. Okay, now I'm going to tell everybody before we do this, you just have a pair of headsets. You can get cheapy ones. I'm talking about the mic,
Yeah.
and the head speaker, because you're going to need that, because the biggest issue with this is echo. And any one of the people can mess it up.
Right.
So if you can imagine, if you have 12 people, 4 of them could be causing reverb echoes. Okay? So you got to have like a headset. But we're going to be ready to test that too. Again, why? Got to have ways to connect with people live in the recording and be able to hear and talk to them on the air.
Right.
Besides that one, so we're going to be testing out Uvu. The other thing is the Blog Talk chat room, ready to try to use that. And also perhaps the stick cam room. Now, part of what we're trying to do with Jezreel is have her be live and interacting with all these things on air. We just have to get her in here to get the setups tested before we go on the air. Part of the issue with her is that, when they get here, we can't do that when they get here. It has to be done ahead of time.
Right.
So I also told Jezreel, though, to go and start to become familiar with the live stream, install those things on her computer, because that's what we want. So the issue is how to prioritize things. Well, remember, we're changing the way we do the broadcast, more reality television. So Vic and I have to decide this, because we have to schedule our time, right?
Well, yeah.
And we also want to keep the specialty broadcast going. In other words, we're getting more specialty broadcasts where people are coming to us, artists, other celebrities, whatever. So we never want to put that off. Never want to put those off.
Right.
Okay, so remember, the whole thing is how to plan for this growth. That's why when we add show times, mostly it's Monday or Tuesday nights, evenings, right?
Right.
Because that's the easiest place to add the shows right now. We can't do them Wednesday anymore on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because that's where we're doing the other thing.
You're right. PMC is just since we're having this is our off week and we're meeting now. Just confirming, because he has to leave out at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, our Pacific Standard Time, 3 o'clock for him. That are we meeting tonight or just tomorrow night, or tomorrow morning again? So since it's an off week, we're playing this by ear, right?
Yeah, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. What we're going to be doing is this as an experiment this week is just televising what we're working on. So It's going to be kind of a strange thing. I have a list of things I want to do. One of the things I want to do is capture an album using the Ion recorder. So we have a bunch of little things. So Tuesday and Wednesday will definitely be here as the regular time,
Right.
but we'll be doing this more or less.
Right. Got you.
That's why. So we're it's for Vic. Vic and I are experimenting. We're just going to televise the experiment.
So basically, the PMC just say nothing tonight, but we'll be here tomorrow morning, Wednesday, and tomorrow night also, but not tonight. That's what he was asking.
I wanted to discuss with you about tonight and tomorrow night, just to see what you wanted to do. We could decide that now, kind of, Vic. For us, it's the same issue. I have stuff for us to go over. So if we want to, or else we don't have to.
Now, remember, the part is I don't mind either. It's not a big issue. It's just a matter of what you want to do as it relates to just having the cameras up. Either way it goes, we have to have our meetings in the morning anyway.
We're going to do tonight, then, and tomorrow night. What we'll do, because our rule was just to shorten it.
Right.
So we're going to do it tonight and tomorrow night. Yeah, 7:30. Tonight is the community manager meeting where I mostly talk about things that I think is relevant. And then on the Tuesday, it's when you guys can have me work on stuff you want me to work on.
Right.
Okay. Right. All right. And those of you who already have stuff you want me to work on, email it to me or post it, or let Vic know either way. Okay. And it can be whatever you want me to go look at it. Because the idea is an hour to go. And remember, the preference always goes to the team, right? The regular team. That means Mac and them, so those questions related to that.
Right.
Okay. PMC, same thing. Okay.
Right.
Same thing with PMC related to the team. Okay. And then on the Monday, and theoretically, the Monday night one might make you have questions for the Tuesday night. Because on tonight, for the hour, I'm basically going to be making you aware of what the developments are so everybody can see what some of the developments are that you might find interesting and useful. Okay? That's the one where I give you information.
There you go.
Okay? And so it'll be about stuff that you might want to use as a techie, that you might want to use in terms of managing whatever you're doing. It's just all of those kinds of things. It's where I give you ideas. Okay? And I'll go show it to you. And it's always supposed to be under an hour. From 7:30 to 8:30, you guys, because we want to do the broadcast. Remember, the broadcast typically would repeat at 9 o'clock. Except tonight, there's no special. Well, I guess we show this. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so that's for PNC. So PNC, we'll see you later on.
Right. Max says during this week he'll be in and out of the chat room because he's involved in other projects and other stuff as well. So it's just the idea of just doing an FYI when.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, play it by ear because it's that kind of and it's experiment, Mac. So remember that. I'm gonna like tomorrow, Jezzy's supposed to be here. So theoretically we're gonna be meeting with Jezzy and talking about what she's doing and all that. And having breakfast, coffee and all that tomorrow during the same time. Only difference is that we'll be talking with Jezzy about what she's doing.
Right.
So everybody who's interested can watch us meet because this is actually an experiment with the reality type thing. So we're going to go on and meet and talk about what we got to talk about. And then we're just letting people watch it.
Right.
Okay?
Got it.
All right. So play it by ear. So, Vic, I wanted you to be aware that the live stream broadcaster stuff is set up. Okay,
Got it.
Also, the microphone set up, ready for us to test with the other Sennheiser.
You're talking about testing on the other system or just this one?
Well, testing with this,
With this one.
and then we can also test. Well, you don't have to test this again,
Yeah.
but we're going to want to try this on the others, I guess, on the high def.
Okay.
Even though. The reason why I thought about trying this because it left it so you didn't have to mess with anything. You know what I'm saying? Even though I put it on this little lightweight tripod, which is about to tip over at any moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're testing on that one, but you're just replacing the plug-in for the
well, that's
Canon.
because theoretically you could do this. See,
Right. Well,
if
that's
you're
how
live, you guys see how that functional is, you guys? Imagine that, and it's streaming live
Right.
to the internet. See, this is what I call, that's what makes this cool. We
Right.
could be out, boom, 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 coming live to all y'all from South by Southwest. And then while we're doing all that, depending upon what we're broadcasting, if Mac and them knew, they could be in the chat room, once again communicating with the world while we're doing the stuff.
Yeah.
And seeing some of the stuff we're covering.
Really, and not that this is new. It's not really new to us. It's just that it's more mobile. When I say that is
Right.
we've already done a fully loaded project some years ago, broadcasting live, uploading the video through an app, the app, which was not an app, but application online, which was live stream. So we've already done the fully loaded one. This is where you have a one-man team. Hopefully, the number one thing you hope to do is identify, and we're not going to talk about South-Southwest. That speaks for itself. We're just talking about, for example, an experience I went through about a week ago, knowing that I wanted to tweet. Well, sometimes you may go into a community or a building, and they have no Wi-Fi connection. Right. So you're going to have to identify that. That's number one, because I shoot just like that right now with my projects on concerts and everything, the way they're showing it.
And theoretically, you could connect your phone.
Right.
See, USB.
Right.
Your iPhone USB to this.
Right.
And use that 3G or 4G
Right.
connection.
Right.
So that's the other part, you guys. So it's the function. So I wanted you guys to see microphone receiver, video, that's live stream, the live stream broadcaster.
Right.
This is what we are testing and getting ready for South by Southwest. And that's why. Okay, so Vic, I wanted you to know about that. We also upgraded our headphones. That's a whole different issue, PMC, with that's the swag.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of, while you were going through for about 30 minutes or so, we're going back and forth talking about the conditions and everything on it. And yeah, this is one of those situations where it's not the true sound you want to get when you're doing a live broadcast and how you would approach it. So, and we do understand this, and there are earbuds for Beats by
And
Ear
I
as
didn't
well.
like those the same reason. There's an accuracy issue. And if I gotta monitor the audio and I can't use my near fields, then that's why I do monitor with headphones, but I use a pair of
AKG.
Yeah, these are the K271s.
Right.
But it's usually some version of the studio grade AKGs.
Right.
I have a few of them.
Yeah.
But some version of that if I have to use the headphones.
Yeah.
Some version of that.
Yeah, we identify. For me, it's the same. If I'm not going through a board or somebody's doing the pre-mix, I can wear these all day long when I go out and cover projects. But once you're in studio and you're production, it's a different game. Different game.
Hey, the thing I'm doing with Uvu, by the way, you guys, I want to mention this, Vic, to you, is, and I'll let everybody see it, we put in a video chat room. Now, the whole point of using this is that when you use the Uvu like this, no one has to launch their own application. You could just go there. That was part of the whole thing, even though this one wants a Java upgrade. So remember that. Even though you can download Uvu and use that, I'm trying to make it, there's different ways to use Uvu. We'll be testing them out. But the main thing was to just have a video chat room. And where they just go and log in. So this one, the Java, the plugin keeps crashing. But on the other computer, it works fine.
Right.
But the idea, you would just go there and log in.
Right.
You wouldn't have to do any other stuff. Download. That's why we're using Uvu, because you want something where people don't have to install anything. You just go there, log in.
Right.
You'll be live in the video chat.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing for the Blog Talk call-in, we hope to have that worked out with Jezreel sitting there interacting with the people. And then we're going to patch in live. Okay. So these are all. Now, what again, Vic and I, remember, Vic, it's, to me, the thing is to prioritize what we want to do first. Because we were supposed to start with our program on February 1st. And one of the things I wanted to do was at least talk about some of the things that we think is the priority.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of went over it as it relates to being more, how can we say, more specificity, so to speak. Most people are going to say, well, what do you mean by this? If, well, there's a lot of extra content that we actually don't need in what we do. We can be more point specific relative to time. And then treating also projects whether they're in the broadcast system, which is morning coffee is kind of the bedrock of a lot of things because of the information, the apps, the entertainment, all that. Where morning coffee, it has to slim down to some degree and be more specialized in the content, because we're trying to approach it that every show is a PR campaign. Now, you can't do that if you're just uploading and massaging content and just saying, okay, put it up there and leave it alone, let it walk by itself. That is not the road to success. So that's why we're approaching it that way, because we are our own PR engine. And if we don't get behind the content individually, every piece, we're just taking for granted it'll find its way.
Well, that's the part where this added flexibility. Like, for example, the point I was making is that if we start having a discussion about something, a bunch of those need to be recorded. A bunch of our regular talking sessions should be recorded for future use. And then we're going to have people dropping in.
Right.
And then we're going to be doing DJ and stuff too.
Yep.
See, and then I have this whole visual. I don't know if you guys heard of VJing, video.
Yep.
In other words, there's this whole software I've been playing around with for a few years. It's been a number of years, where you take pieces of video and they will basically beat to the music. You know how you used to make stuff beat to the music and change up to the music? Well, this software allows you to take little video clips and camera feeds, USB cameras, and it will take all of that and beat to the music, sort of the music you feed into it. So for DJs, when you're doing DJ shows, you can have all these visuals going on.
Right. DJ
Shadow used a bunch of it.
Right.
I've been into it for years, actually, as a hobby, like probably going back to like 05 or something like that.
Yeah, the international DJs have been using it for a while.
Yeah, so, and DJ Shadow and them. So, getting ready to use those kind of things for different shows. We have guest people, again, to change the emphasis and then to add that into, remember, we have a 24-hour broadcast.
Right. Right.
And we really need to really look at the 24-hour broadcast and say, hey, what do we want to show at what time? Just like the commercials, right?
Right.
Just like the commercials. See, to me, these are the priorities for February, March, is to work out these things. We know every hour certain announcements need to be heard, like what's the weekly going on or what's happening on this. So it's finding a way to get those kinds of things and make those kinds of commercials and update them regularly without it being a killer. That's what I'm talking about. In other words, if we have to do a commercial that states, hey, this week on Pack Stereo, we're doing the such and such and such and such, you got to be able to make that without making a bunch of work. We know we can, once they're made, our ability to get stuff, produced and up is tremendous and extremely fast. So I have no issues with that. Right now, we're super fast at getting things up wherever they need to go. The issue we have is planning what we need to do. Like, if they need to know, like, in other words, to hype our shows or to hype your shows.
Well, it's a lot that's going on here. The one thing that we are not able to do as much, and we like to, and this happens across the board, whether you're indie or not, is that when you're dealing with promoting others, then you're really at the beckoning and call of their comfort zone, their scheduling, and the content. Well, just to get to the part where you want to actually make it a big event, you want an extreme commitment so you can get in front of it more than chase behind it. And that has been probably some of the biggest things. So we have to deal with that part of it. If it was just focusing on Mario and myself and nobody else, the content, it will be easy to do. But we're engaging the app and how it integrates with other people, the entertainment and how that flows through other people. And then to be able to promote yourself, you need commitments. And I always say this. I know the post-video life is a wonderful life. It can go on. But you also need what's coming, the great storm of the content. Yeah. And if you don't get in front of it that way, you'll be doing patchwork behind it just saying it has value. But you need to distribute. Well, so it goes both ways.
That's the priority issues that I was talking about. Let me be specific. Okay. So we do our morning coffee show, right? We need to be announcing before the show what it is we're talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we would like, right, we know we're not. And we would love it if there was a video that said, this week on Morning Coffee, on Monday we're doing, sometimes we don't know. But you can also say that. This week on Morning Coffee, on Monday, we're going to have a special segment, with this or that, the guest. And when we don't know, we can say, well, specific topics to be decided. But we need to do something where we're announcing the show. And here's the thing. Priority item, right, Vic? That needs to be posted. Now, let me be specific. Let me talk about what Mario needs to do. Because I know everybody says, well, no. This is me, Mario. Okay, when I need to post, get a habit of posting at morningcoffeewithmario.tv at least almost every day. Okay? Okay, me posting, me talking to the community, just like me making broadcasts to packstereo.com and to neourban.tv, right? To make the broadcast of the community. So I need to be putting in here as a blog posting every Sunday night as a minimum what's going to be coming out. And theoretically, I should be in the morning doing like a welcome post. Okay. Or at least Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I need to do that. And now what's interesting is the same kind of a post, besides being at Morning Coffee with Mario, that's the website that is specifically for the show. Okay. How about packstereo.com? See? I need to see what happens is most of it and I knew this too. The data says, again, the promotion we need to do, all of us, is actually little things. It's not big things. They're all little things. Mm-hmm. Now, how much, you all know, how long should it take us to write a quick blog post about what the show is about? Because you don't have to be specific.
Right.
Right? Like Mac could say, this week,
what's the catch?
Mac could say, this week I'm dealing with tetrahydrocannabinol and the effect on your mind. And he could just say that and ha, ha, ha.
Right.
But the studies are saying we should all communicate in these venues. So I should be posting specifically at Pack Stereo Online. So look at the ones I have. Morning Coffee. These are the ones I've identified for myself. And the Neo Urban.